Welcome to ClubhouseNews.com. You're tuned into Clubhouse News Weekend for the week ending Saturday, November 23rd. I'm Gabriella.
And I'm Angelo. This week marks the 50th anniversary of the death of President John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, who was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963, in Dallas, Texas, by Lee Harvey Oswald.
The flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
This past Wednesday, to commemorate the 50th anniversary of JFK's death, President Obama and former President Bill Clinton laid a wreath on Kennedy's memorial. It was also the 50th anniversary of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which was signed into effect by President Kennedy only months prior to his death.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Given annually by the President, the Medal of Freedom is the highest civilian award one can receive in the United States. It recognizes those individuals who have made an especially meritorious contribution to the security or national interests of the United States, world peace, cultural or other significant public or private endeavors. Or in other words, people who have done great things. This year's 16 recipients include talk show host and humanitarian Oprah Winfrey, former President Bill Clinton, and the first woman to travel through space, the late Sally Ride.
Speaking of astronauts and JFK, let's take a look at his impact on our space program. Of course. Or more specifically, how he blasted us off and past the Soviet Union. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched the first satellite into orbit. Then, in 1961, the Soviets sent the first cosmonaut, that's what the Russians call their astronauts, Yuri Gagarin, into space. The Russians were winning the space race, but to President Kennedy, the space race was one race that the USA just had to win. He announced to the entire world that the U.S. planned to land a man on the moon by the end of the decade.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Within a year, 2 Americans were sent into space, and another became the first American to orbit the Earth. Then, in 1969, Kennedy's dream became a reality when the United States won the race and landed the first man on the moon.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
From the 50th anniversary of Kennedy's assassination, we go to the 150th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address. One of the best-known speeches in American history, delivered by President Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War on November 19, 1863, at the dedication of the Soldiers' National Cemetery in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
7 years ago, our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation.
Referring to the Declaration of Independence, written at the start of the American Revolution in 1776, Lincoln examined the founding principles of the United States in the context of the Civil War and memorialized the sacrifices of those who gave their lives at Gettysburg and extolled the virtues of America's representative democracy. That government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The Gettysburg Address is to this day considered one of the greatest speeches in American history and a turning point for the country.
But it can never forget what they did here.
By the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.
Hey everyone, I'm Joey with this week's Science and Tech News. The quest for little green men is leading us all to the big red planet. Earlier this month, India launched its first mission to Mars. Now it's NASA's turn. The Mars Atmosphere and Volatile Evolution spacecraft, MAVEN, blasted off from Florida on November 18th. Was there once life on Mars? Evidence suggests that Mars once had water on its surface. There's even markings on the surface that seem to have been made by ancient rivers. And where there's water, there's usually life. So the question is, where did all the water go? How did this once wet planet turn into a big red space rock? Well, Mavin will try to solve that mystery by studying Mars's atmosphere and trying to make sense of the red planet's climate change over billions of years. But the bigwigs up at NASA aren't the only ones looking for life in the stars. The space bug has hit younger generation, and the first satellite built by high schoolers launches tonight. Students at Thomas Jefferson High School in Virginia are launching a Mind Cube-shaped satellite they call the CubeSat. It isn't the first of its kind, but it's the first built by high school teens. It took 50 students 7 whole years to do it. Now that's one long after-school project, but satellites and rockets aren't the only things blasting off or exploding. This week, not one, but 2 volcanoes exploded in Indonesia, the 4th most populated country in the world. The eruptions happen within hours of each other, and experts say they can happen again at any moment. And did you know that Indonesia has 129 active volcanoes? The country is located in a region called the Ring of Fire, known for active volcanoes and earthquakes.
Turn on the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire! You said you could do it. The Ring of Fire!
Maybe a supercomputer could have predicted these volcanic blasts.
3.14. 1592653.
China's Tianhe-2 has been voted the world's best calculating device. You know how it can take minutes to do simple math problems? Well, not with this baby. It can do 33 quadrillion math calculations a second. Great Scott, I want one of those for my math final. Those are some speedy calculations, but is it faster than Japan's levitating train? Let's travel from China to Japan, shall we? Japan's new magnetic levitation technology, maglev, allows travel up to 315 miles per hour, and if all goes to plan, we may one day be seeing these trains speed right through America. Japan hopes to help America build these trains. They even offered to pay for some of the cost. Maglev trains work by using electromagnets, all while floating inches above the track, like a ghost. And when technology isn't being used to send us into space and levitate our trains, it's out on the farm herding cows. So move over, Rover, because there's a new dog in town called, well, Rover. The 4-wheeled device is being used to move cows from the field to the dairy. And get this, the cows didn't even seem to mind the robot. They actually moved calmly in the right direction. And though the current design requires a human pilot, the hope is to eventually not need one.
Hi, I'm Haley Ann, and here's what's happening this week in health and nutrition. Need a little something extra to boost your grades? Well, according to British researchers, an intense workout might just help. Their conclusion, the kids who work out more tend to get better grades in all subjects, not just PE. So run more often, not just to get better grades, but to beat our parents. Believe it or not, another study shows that many of us kids are slower runners than our parents were at the same age.
Run, Forrest, run!
That's right, the results are in. And kids these days aren't running as fast as their parents could when they were young. Data from 25 million kids in 28 countries spanning 46 years shows that we are running a mile 90 seconds slower than mom and dad did 30 years ago. It also found that endurance levels are dropping 5% every 10 years. So exercise, not just for your health, but to beat your parents. And once you work up a thirst from all that exercise, what should you drink? Some cool, delicious tap water or a nice, refreshing bottle of water? And the answer is both. Tap and bottled water both are meeting the safety standards. People like to think bottled water is better because it tastes better, but tap water has already been treated to remove toxic chemicals and bacteria. So before you spend more cash for the extra plastic bottles, which, by the way, are bad for the environment, don't be fooled by the illustrations of those flowing mountain springs. Tap water's perfectly fine, as long as your home pipes aren't super rusty. Now that your thirst has been quenched, I know you have to be starving by now. If so, don't go nuts.
R-S-T-U-V-W-X-Y-Z!
Just eat them. Everyone knows that squirrels love nuts. Well, who would have thought a squirrel could be so smart? Just a handful can provide health and wholesome nutrients. Walnuts can lead to a healthier brain, the heart, and joints. Hazelnuts promote healthy muscles. And peanuts, while not exactly nuts, but in the same family as beans and peas, have just as many benefits.
My peanut.
And as long as you're downing some nuts, cram in some cranberries. They're not just great for Thanksgiving feast, but they're really good for your too. They promote a healthy urinary tract and protect against many chronic and long-lasting diseases. For example, did you know that cranberries can lower blood pressure, reduce cholesterol levels, and clear plaque in the arteries? So this Thanksgiving, make sure to get a second helping of cranberries. Now, while all that exercise, water, nuts, and cranberries will help to keep you healthy, it won't keep you from catching the flu. That is, if you're not keeping your house super clean. That's because a clean house means less germs and less chance of catching the flu. So now that flu season is at its peak, here are some steps you need to take to not get sick. Clean every surface, and of course, cover your mouth when you sneeze and cough. And don't forget, wash your hands. It's no fun being sick, and if you use these 3 tips, you will probably be flu-free this winter. So stay healthy and flu-free.
Hi, I'm Nicholas reporting on sports. This is the sad tale of Lance Armstrong, who was once considered the greatest cyclist who ever lived. He won cycling's greatest race, the Tour de France, 7 times after battling cancer. But then the story turned from heartwarming, hero overcomes cancer, to heartbreaking. The hero is a big fat zero, a liar and a cheat.
Have you ever used performance-enhancing drugs?
Of course not. Never. Not one.
Turns out Armstrong, as many had suspected for years, was doping using performance-enhancing steroids, and even recycling his own blood before races to give him better endurance and beat the doping test.
Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
Did you ever blood dope or use blood transfusions to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
He had denied the claim for years and ruined the lives of anyone who attempted to tell the truth. Finally, he was stripped of his 7 Tour de France titles in 2012 and banned from cycling forever. When it came out, he tested positive for steroids 4 times in 1999 when he won his first Tour de France championship. Now Armstrong wants to turn in the cycling bosses and staff that he claims not only knew about his drug use and helped him cover it up, but even encouraging him to cheat.
We've been attacked and ripped apart by Lance and all of his people and all his supporters repeatedly.
He's hoping this bombshell will allow his lifetime ban in the sport to be overturned or reduced to 8 years. But the bottom line is this: Lance Armstrong is a liar and a cheat who is willing to do absolutely anything illegal to win and be a champion, including ruining people's lives and bullying those who expose them. Let Armstrong serve as an example to all of us kids. Cheaters never prosper.
Hi everyone, I'm Gabriella, back with this week's entertainment news. On Monday, the Hunger Games sequel, Catching Fire, premiered in Hollywood.
Stay alive.
It also had world premieres in Rome, London, Madrid, and even Paris. Catching Fire is expected to do just that, set the box office on fire. And while we're on Hollywood, it's not quite the Oscars, but the 2013 Governors Awards were held last week. The main star? Angelina Jolie, star of the upcoming Maleficent. She received the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award for all her selfless global humanitarian work, in which she has done so much to help those in parts of the world who are so much less fortunate than us. Angelina Jolie, a star that's not only beautiful on the outside, but on the inside too. Now, that's what I call a superstar. From a humanitarian to an inspiration, George Dennehy was born without arms and abandoned by his parents. But then he was adopted by 2 loving people, and when he was only 8 years old, they introduced him to the cello. He eventually took a piano and guitar as well. He started putting his music on YouTube, and his version of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls attracted the band's attention. They invited him to perform on stage together, and now he's pursuing his own musical career. And finally, if you thought those two stories were inspirational, get a load of this pint-sized superhero.
Please, Cape Crusader, we need you. And bring the Bat Kid.
San Francisco survived a crime wave on Friday, all thanks to 5-year-old Miles Scott. Scott, a cancer survivor, was granted a wish by the Make-A-Wish Foundation, who organized his dream come true event. Suiting up as Bat Kid, he traveled the city with Batman in a Lamborghini, battling crime as thousands cheered him on. Afterwards, the mayor of San Francisco thanked him and gave him a key to the city. Even President Obama sent him a tweet. If only his superhero powers could help Obamacare.
Hi, I'm Carlin, and here's what is happening around the world. Here in the USA, it's Thanksgiving this Thursday, and while most of us love it because we get a few days off school, there's a lot of importance to this holiday. The first Thanksgiving is said to have been a feast in the 1600s between the Pilgrims, you know, the guys that wore the funny hats, and the Native Americans, called Indians back then because when Christopher Columbus landed at Plymouth Rock, he thought he was in India. Get it? India, Indians? Anyway, in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln proclaimed a national day of giving thanks, Thanksgiving Day.
We have brought a special gift for this holiday feast. I am a turkey. Kill me.
Thanksgiving is celebrated in the United States on the fourth Thursday of November and in Canada during October. And while other countries don't celebrate it, some have some sort of Thanksgiving traditions. So get ready to stuff yourself with delicious turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans, yams, and all the fixings. I'm getting hungry already. It's also a time for friends and families to come together and give thanks for all of their blessings. And believe it or not, Thanksgiving isn't the only holiday happening this Thursday. It's also the first day of Hanukkah, which is celebrated by Jewish people all around the world. It celebrates a Jewish victory over the Syrian Greeks and King Antiochus more than 2,000 years ago. After their victories, the Jews found a small amount of oil in a synagogue, but miraculously, that teeny bit of oil lit a flame for 8 whole days. Because of that, Hanukkah lasts for 8 days, and those who celebrate it light candles on the menorah, open gifts, play the dreidel game, and eat latkes, which are potato pancakes. Traditionally, Jewish kids get a gift every day for 8 days. So why can't Christmas last 8 days? I want 8 presents. This will be the first time since 1888 that both of the holidays fall on the same day, and it won't happen again for another 70,000 years. So how cool is that? We're a part of history. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Chloe, and here's this week's animal news. A lot of people aren't too happy with President Obama right now, but at least he's a hero to one animal. Have you heard of the turkey pardoning tradition? Well, every year a Thanksgiving turkey is pardoned by the president, which means that the turkey is spared from being someone's Thanksgiving dinner and gets to live the rest of its life in peace. There are a lot of rumors out there as to when it began, but it officially became a tradition in 1989 when George H.W. Bush was in office. And most people think the turkey is selected randomly, but did you know the lucky guy or gal is selected at birth and is trained to handle loud noises, flash photography, and large crowds? Probably so it doesn't go crazy on the president during the pardoning ceremony. That would be funny to watch. Now, there's a movie called Freebirds that just came out. It tells the story of a pardoned turkey named Reggie, who then tries to take all turkeys off the Thanksgiving menu by going back in time and changing history. Sorry, Reggie, but I think I still want some cranberry stuffed turkey. Cats are sometimes known as being impersonal or aloof, but not Mary Jane, better known as MJ. MJ's owner, a Philadelphia bike courier named Rudy, doesn't work alone. Yep, that's right. That's his partner MJ as she perches on Rudy's shoulder as they ride the streets of Philadelphia. According to Rudy, the first day MJ managed to sit for 1 block, but after some practice and lots of patience, she can now go for 25 long miles. And she's so affectionate. Sometimes she even nuzzles Rudy's neck. Isn't she just perfect? From a little cat to a much bigger cat. A 110-pound lioness named Surga. When she was just a little cub, Surga was abandoned. But lucky for her, 2 men, Mikkel Lagarth and Valentin Gruner, found her and nursed her back to health from dehydration. They saved her life. Surga now lives in a natural habitat, and while she doesn't have contact with other humans, she does keep in contact with her human heroes. I just hope she doesn't get hungry when they visit her. Just kidding.
This week marked the 50th anniversary of the death of President John F. Kennedy,
the 50th anniversary of the Medal of Freedom,
the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's Gettysburg Address,
and Thanksgiving and Hanukkah both fall on the same day, for the first time since 1888.
Remember to stay tuned in to what's happening by going to our website at www.clubhousenews.com.
You'll find in-depth stories, videos, and much more. So until next week,
Happy Thanksgiving, Happy Hanukkah, and don't forget to stay on top of the world with ClubhouseNews.com.